look at the load that I have on right now. I've got a skid steer with a bucket on. Now, unfortunately, chaining is the only way to tie these things down. You can't do it any other way. There's no possible way of securely tying this down with a strap. There are different styles of binders. The company that I work for chooses the ratchet style because they're trying to eliminate the binder style in Canada. So a lot of companies are starting to go to these, which I don't mind. The only thing that I find is that they do come loose on occasion, so you really got to keep checking. But for the most part, I haven't had any issues with them. The other thing is to make sure that you keep them lubed up, because otherwise they will seize and they are a pain in the ass to get back open. But as for here, there's really only two places to tie down. You can see the open hooks on the bottom of the skid steer, which the chain is run through, and then on the front of the skid steer there's an open hole right through the mast that the chain would run through as well. Otherwise, there really aren't any other proper tie down points for it in order to keep it moving from back and forth or side to side. So, and granted, it doesn't weigh a whole lot either. I think it's only about 3,000 pounds. So two chains, which each chain is rated for, if I'm not mistaken, 4,000 pounds a piece. So I've got 8,000 pounds worth of tie down equipment on a 3,500 pound piece of equipment.
Just in case.
Yeah. So that's really, there's nothing else you can do with this. The only other option, if the bucket wasn't attached to it, I would have either put a chain or a strap over the bucket just to secure it to the neck. But because everything's attached to one unit, I didn't have to worry about it. Now, this one is a little more interesting because this is, I don't know the exact year. I didn't check on that, but I know this, I believe this is from back in
60s, 70s?
I want to say late 50s, early 60s. If you want to check out the actual brand, it's John Deere 330S. That's the model of it. Now, the machine only weighs 2,500 pounds. So technically, if I really wanted to be a jackass to DOT, I could just put one strap over it, because the strap tie-down limit is 5,400 pounds. So one strap would double the capacity weight for this, but DOT also being them, because it does have axles, they prefer it being cross-chained. So that's what I've done. Now, because this is older, it doesn't have actual tie-down points, sometimes you have to be a little more creative. So, and because this is basically an antique, you also want to find spots that are going to do the least amount of damage if you're going to do any, so that you don't wreck the integrity of the tractor. Because the last thing I need is to get there and then them file a claim against the company stating that I damaged it. That's a headache I really don't need. Now, as for the reels, there are, this specific type of reel, this is really the only way to tie it down, is two chains going through the center bar that they have bolted on the reel and cross chain. There's no other way. You could, I guess, so long as your winch is actually lined up properly, you could probably cross strap it, but I know DOT prefer to use chain, so I have no problem doing that. Plus, on the other end, it makes my life so much easier. Now, had I had more than just these two reels, say I had a full load of reels, I would need two chains cross-chained on the front, two cross-chained on the back, but everything in the middle, I'd only need one. The reason for that is because the one on the front and the one on the back have already stopped the forward and backward momentum. So now you just need one for the middle ones in order to stop the cross momentum. That's all they care about. And the biggest thing for them is to make sure that you're stopping. Oh, let me see if it's been a while, so let me see if my math is right. 80% of the forward and rear momentum and 50% of the side momentum. So you need enough tie downs on your equipment to make sure that all of that is covered. And that's also a bare minimum. If you can put more, put more. I'd much rather be safe than sorry. Because if you put the bare minimums, unless you've hauled it for years and years and years, like lumber, I have no problems with putting 2 straps over a 10-foot piece of lumber. I hauled it going up to the Yukon. Well, yeah. I've hauled it going up to the Yukon and Northwest Territories and everything else up in Canada, going through the mountains and switchbacks. Never had an issue. Now, once you get past that, legally, so long as it's, so a 10-foot piece of lumber, you need 2 straps, bare minimum. So if you go to a 20-foot piece of lumber, most guys are going to put on at least 4, if not 5 straps. Legally, you only need 3, because it's 2 for the first 10 feet and 1 for every 10 feet after that, which I think is absolutely bull. It's not going to stop anything if, yeah, okay, I've crunched up the first 10 feet, but I've still got another 10 feet behind it that's going to push right through. So in those aspects, yeah, I got no problems putting on 4 or 5 straps over a 20-foot piece of lumber to make sure that my ass is covered, because at the end of the day, it's my ass that's responsible. And DOT doesn't care where I picked it up. They don't care if someone else loaded it. They don't care if someone else tied it down, because I'm the one that they stopped while hauling it. I'm the one responsible. So it doesn't matter what anyone else does to a load. If you go and pick up a preloaded trailer in a yard and it's already tied down for you, go and check it. I don't care who loaded it. I don't care if he's your best friend that you've lived next door to for 10 years. Check the damn load. Because the last thing you need is to say, have a nick in a strap somewhere that he missed, and it winds up coming off down the highway. And now the end of the strap ends up going through a car windshield. That's on you. That's not on the other guy. He doesn't care what happens after he drops it in the yard. It's your ass. So make sure to cover your ass. And a lot of guys in the industry also become very complacent in their job. I'm not knocking myself on this, because I'm one of them. But when you get into a new truck, make sure that you're stopping every day, every morning. Make sure that you at least check the oil, check your fluids, make sure that everything's okay, do your tire checks. Like, once you get to know the truck, you know where the fluids like to run, that's when you can start checking it every other day. Unless you start noticing leaks, which then, yes, start checking, making sure that everything is still up to par. But, you know, it's one of those things where you don't absolutely have to do every day once you actually know the truck. And I'm not talking about a day or two in the truck. I'm talking about a month, 2 months, 3 months down the road. Until then, check it every day. Don't be one of these people that just wake up in the morning, fire up their truck, and go, oh, it's broke. Well, I wonder why that is. Well, if you would have opened up your hood, you probably would have found the problem. But unfortunately, there's still a lot of guys out there. And there's a lot of domestic people that do it. There's a lot of foreigners that do it. I'm not pinpointing anybody. I'm not pointing any fingers. You can edit that out if you want. But, you know, everybody does it is all I'm saying. But as for me, you know, this is my life. I've been doing it for 17 years, and I'm not stopping anytime soon.